You know, our job as coaches is to give our athletes the best opportunity to succeed. And that's why we practice, do game plans, things of that sort. And I guess that's why the #1 seed was so important, because forget what's happened in the past with the last #1 seeds. It's still the best spot to be in the tournament. You know, people will say that the other teams get to play on the Q floor, but the other teams also have to win more games to get there than the 1 seed. You know, the 1 seed, you've got to win 2 basketball games. I can't imagine anybody would sign up to try to win 3 games if they had an option to only win 2 games. At least I wouldn't. So, in my opinion, it's the best spot to be in. And I promise you, if it doesn't work out for us, I won't come back and say, gosh, if we could have played on the Q4, we would have had a better chance. That's just not true. You know what I mean? You got to win 2 basketball games. You get the most time to prepare. You get the most time to get your kids rest, which is something that every team's fighting to get this time of year. It's hard to find time to rest players. So I'm just really happy for the players, especially Mariah Byard and her class, that have been through so much in their time here. And you come to college with the hopes of success, and they never really found it for whatever reason. And obviously last year we didn't find success a whole lot either. So it's not just a coaching problem, but we got it figured out this year. And you know, the team last year was one of the worst shooting teams in the conference, and it was addressed, and they were told what they needed to do to become better shooters, and then they did it. Like I didn't take any shots for kids. We tried to teach them and coach them as we're supposed to do. And now they've become they've become the best 3-point shooting team in the history of Ohio. They've led the conference, or at parts, in 3-point makes, 3-point percentage. Never led it in field goal percentage because of the mass quantity of 3-pointers we take. We'll never lead it in field goal percentage because those are going to be teams that are going to shoot more high percentage shots. And we're more concerned with points per possession than percentage of shots. But you know, it's just a matter of work. And as you mentioned, it's a 12-month. It's a 12-month period. Last year at this time, we were coming back from Bowling Green after getting beat 63-39 and really just getting embarrassed up there. Couldn't operate offensively, couldn't stop them defensively. They only played 7 kids against us. You know, we pretty much got dismantled. Came back, lost, went to Miami, lost, went to Toledo, lost, and really we're not real competitive in any of those games. And at that point, we had a core of players coming back, and we said, this is what we have. There's nobody coming through the door that's going to save us. We've got to do this with what's in the room. And they took it upon themselves to get better, and they deserve the credit for that. They're the ones that were in the gym shooting and working on their game. They're the ones that improved their game, and they have the statistical numbers to prove it. It's obviously a pretty easy word for me to say. I think Mariah is a terrific leader in the sense that she comes in and she does her job. Nobody on our team does their job more consistently than Mariah. Like she's a tremendous student. You know what I mean? She's a 389 in nursing. But she goes to class, and she goes right from class to practice. Some days she goes right from practice to class, but she arrives at the same time every day. She doesn't talk to friends, hang out, take the long way to practice. You know what I mean? She comes as soon as she can from class. She practices for as long as she can. She leaves. If she says she's going to get 150 shots in, she'll come in and she'll shoot her 150 shots. She doesn't necessarily come off as a leader because you don't hear her talk a whole lot. But as an example for how young ladies should operate in the college setting, she's a tremendous leader. She's just somebody who comes in and does her job, doesn't care how much praise she gets, doesn't care how much you yell at her. You know what I mean? She'll just continually work every day. I think her defense has improved leaps and bounds. I mean, she at one point, people would have considered her a defensive liability, and I don't think I would say that. I think she's pretty good on the ball. She's tremendous in help, has a tremendous mind for the game, and it's nice to see that kind of flourish and come out of her, because at times you didn't see that last year, and I don't know what you saw before that, but it just kind of got overshadowed by all the gloom and doom of our overall operation. You know what I mean? We missed shots, we couldn't guard, people scored, blah, 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 blah. But now you start to see her skill set shine in a team setting where she's at her best. I hope they'll take that. I hope they'll take her workmanlike mentality about it. And, you know, your seniors a lot of times have a bigger appreciation because they start to see the end. And when you're a freshman, you don't think about the end. And even as a sophomore, I don't think you do. But I hope they'll, and I know that they appreciate her hard work. I know they appreciate her attention to detail, and hopefully that's a trait that they can learn to acquire. I think that's what you want. We want to try to play the best basketball we can, and then we'll take, as I mentioned last week, we'll take what we deserve. And at this point, we deserve to be the MAC champs, and it's because it's something that we earned. And truthfully, last year we earned the seed we got. We deserved exactly whatever awful seed it was. We earned it. You know, and it's not always pretty what you earn, but I think that's kind of been our approach, is that we're going to go and we're going to work as hard as we get, and at the end, we'll take what it is. If it's a win, it's a win. If it's a loss, it's a loss. But we're going to make sure that there's pride in how we do it, and we gave it our best effort. Her shot selection is 100 times better than it's ever been, and she's learning. Like, she took a lot of bad shots last year, and it wasn't because of selfishness. It's because she has such a strong desire to win. And quite frankly, at times, that was our only chance of scoring. For those of you that watched us play, like, that was our only chance. And I was like, shoot it, KB. Maybe it'll go in, because I don't know that anybody else can make a shot right now. And she's learned to play with teammates, and she's learned that she can get better shots. And when she takes good shots, she makes them at a very high rate. And I think that's the growth and improvement and maturity in her game. You know, it was never a selfishness thing. It was just the kid has such a strong desire to win, and she'll literally do whatever it takes to win. And if I told her, listen, this game, you can't shoot the ball or we're going to lose, she wouldn't shoot the ball. Winning is that important to her. And I would never say that, because we would lose if she doesn't shoot the ball. But that's never been the forefront to her. Winning has always been the first thing for her, and I think you'll see it in her defense. She's a completely different player defensively this year. That's something that Sarah and I had talked about throughout the season, and it's hard to find the right time to do certain things without taking away from other. You know, there's a lot of good causes out there. And, you know, early in the year, there were a lot of colleges doing things, and we thought it would just kind of get lost in the shuffle. And then you get into, you know, the Eastern Michigan game, didn't think that was the right time. You know, there's other issues at hand there. You don't want to really interfere with the breast cancer awareness stuff that the Play for K is doing, because I think that's a tremendous charity. It's a tremendous opportunity to bring to light those struggles. We have senior night next week, and this just felt like the right time to just try to bring. You know, I told Jake in our pregame, I just hope that somebody Googled Lauryn Hill in warm-ups and wondered, why are they wearing, who's Lauryn Hill? And maybe that's sparked a conversation. Maybe it'll spark some. The kid's an amazing kid. And just to hear a story, it's a story that should be read. And so hopefully it got read tonight a little bit more than it would have otherwise. And, you know, I think there's a bunch of medical causes that are great to donate to, and I think that's a personal preference. And if somebody decides to make a donation tonight because of that, then good for them. But hopefully we just brought maybe a couple more people to read her story. I think we're bringing in 5 very skilled players. And, you know, Mariah was at one point a shooter, and she's become a basketball player. And I think that would be the goal with the 5 that we brought in. They're very skilled. They all shoot the ball very well. Our goal would be that we bring them in as shooters and they leave as basketball players, much like Mariah did, where she's not, you know, she had a driving layup. I think she even almost shot a free throw tonight. But she had 3 assists. I thought the other night she did a tremendous job of getting in the middle of Buffalo zone And that's something that she couldn't have done 2 years ago. She was strictly a shooter, and that with the class that's coming in, like I mentioned, they're very, very skilled. You know, they'll have their hands full. There's going to be some challenges. There's obviously 10 pretty good players coming back, maybe 11, depending on how Destiny feels. So, you know, there's going to be some competition for spots, which is how a Division I program should operate. You know, I think as we get better, it should be harder for freshmen to come in and make an immediate impact. You know, besides Kentucky men, you don't see freshmen come in and play on really good teams. They usually have a limited role, and because the coaches have done their job in recruiting and they've replaced people and built up a program, and not hoping on a player coming in. And it's too much pressure on a freshman to ask her to come in, learn the college game, and save a basketball team all at the same time. But I'm extremely excited for them. I think they're a tremendous addition to what we currently have.